But at some point, when you're trying to scale up your business, like, no person really does it alone. So it is great to ideally find a team that complements you, right? Like, in different ways. Like, so the typical one that you kind of hear about maybe is this hipster hacker hustler. So the hipster is sort of the creative, maybe UX designer person, right? Someone who thinks about, maybe marketing and things like that, right? The hacker is the tech guy, right? Or the person building the product, and presumably if it's a tech solution, and then, or, like the domain expert essentially, right? In whatever you're trying to build. And then the hustler is like the person that sells things or maybe pitches, tries to fundraise. But this is just kind of one way to think about it. Again, as I was saying, like, I think the important thing for any person trying to build a business is to be able to get like different perspectives or mindsets on what you're trying to build. And then, starting a business can be a very lonely journey, the longer you do it, especially. So even just having other people to talk to, like kind of brainstorm ideas with, right, can be really helpful for a startup. I guess I also put a note here, like, if you are a bit older, or don't worry, I guess, actually, like, statistically, the more successful founders are people that have like domain expertise or have experienced the problem themselves. They tend to be like a little bit older, like in their late 30s, right? Like at least the unicorn founders, so to speak. And yeah, like, and most of them have someone in their founding team that has the technical capability to build the product, or at least kind of oversee how the product's being built. So like, they don't outsource sort of the core competency of their company, right? I guess the other side of this is, if let's say you're one of the lucky ones that has had funding for your startup already, also don't overhire, I guess. Like, don't hire too quickly. I think one of the most painful experiences in any founder's life is like, you hire too quickly, you don't have that culture fit, right? And even worse, like, if something goes wrong, right, like you need to like let people go. Like, I know one founder who was like, like during COVID, his business was like really booming, right? And he hired like a ton of people. And, when the pandemic died down and like people weren't as online anymore, and the kind of he just hired everyone he can, right? And then, he was like, I had to fire people that had like the logo of our company tattooed on them, like, how do you fire someone like that, right? So, take care of your team. Like, the team and building your team is probably like one of your number one jobs as a founder. Like, and both like when you're nurturing it as it's small, right, and as you get bigger, so yeah. So that's number 6. Number 7. Let's go. Yeah. So my next one is sort of related to the previous point, but also relates to sort of your customers and especially your early clients, your beachhead market, right? So at QBO, we like to use Q puns before. So QBO is spelled with QBO, and, all of our teammates were called cuties, but, so I kind of wanted to use that as an example here, but it's like building a cult or a culture, and even better, a community, so, people that can, I think, really successful startups find a way to make they're not just their product sticky, but if you really know your customer and love your customer, like, they will talk about you, they will give you feedback on like what products you need to build next, right? So having that sort of quote unquote cult, right? Like, even speaking your own language sometimes could help. Like, focus on that community building aspect just as much as you would writing lines of code, because like having a community, right, can really amplify like whatever it is you're trying to build. I don't think if you have enough people that are really passionate about what you're doing, like, they're going to stick with you, right? Like, as your business grows. And in fact, they're going to help you grow your business. So, I mean, again, this applies to internally within your team, but definitely more so with your customers. Like, if you're really paying attention to your problem, really paying attention to your customers, right? Like, and I mean, I see this with other examples too, actually, of like kind of other organizations that are kind of around now. Like they really kind of focus on creating this community and building this quote unquote culture around what they're building. And I'm sure you can think of products that like, you weren't paid to like recommend them to people, or, it just gets kind of copied or spreads around. And like, that's kind of, something cool to try to think about. Okay, next one. So I have about 10-ish minutes left. I think the last few slides are what most of you care about, actually. So I'm gonna get to it. So yeah, number 8. Okay, so are you fundraising? That's like, this is actually what most founders like focus on. I don't fully agree that this should be your focus, but because we're here, like, I'll talk about a few things about this. So yeah, are you fundraising? So my first bullet here is like networking is 100% essential. Like it's probably your biggest asset, honestly. Like, I mean, especially in the Philippines, but even if you go to Southeast Asia, and this is the same, same thing if you go to the Middle East, same thing if you go to the US, right? Like, there are not that many investors, I suppose, and they all know each other. We all talk, right? That's one. 2 is if nobody's ever heard of you or what you're doing, or can vouch for you, or can even say, I've heard of this, or this seems cool, like, like that really kind of hurts your chances. Like I put in this like Fight Club meme here, like number 1 of rule of stealth startup, don't talk about stealth startups. That's kind of dumb. Sorry. Like, can I say that here? Don't be that. Like, stealth startups are not a thing. Like, if you're stealth, like, you might as well not exist, right? Like, no one's gonna be like, oh, I came out of stealth, and like all of a sudden, like people are really excited. Like, even if you're, let's say, potentially like, there's probably like a 0.1% of founders where they've already kind of proven themselves in one way or another, right? Where they can, people are waiting for what the next thing they're going to do is. But like, more likely than not, you're not, like, play it safe, right? Like, just get to know people, like, get your word out. Again, it's also another way of developing traction, getting feedback for your business. So anyway, I spent way too much time on that one bullet, but networking is 100% essential. Go to GOAB, like that's a great place to like meet people. So, but anyway, moving on to some of the other points I have here, like dedicate time, right? Like fundraising is, especially raising with like institutional investors, actually does take time. It's like almost a full-time job, right? So, and have like a timeline for when you need to raise. Definitely raise before you're desperate. Like, it's not like, oh, I can't make payroll next week, I'm going to try fundraising today, right? Like, get your stuff together. Like, that's really important, and have enough runway, like, and dedicate actual time. Like, there should, and again, this is why I'm a big fan of like companies being teams and not solo founders, because like one person can just be focusing on fundraising while everyone else is running the business. But like, this fundraising does not happen overnight, even to the best and most experienced founders, right? Third thing, and this is like a personal pet peeve, but I know a lot of VCs also hate this, like you have to know your stuff. Like you have to be the domain expert in your startup. Like if I'm a VC and I know more about your industry, about your product or whatever, and your competitors, right, than you do, there's no way you're going to get a check, right? So definitely please know your stuff about your own startup. And have a data room ready. Like, I don't understand why you're saying you're fundraising and you don't have a data room. Like, Google it, ChatGPT. I don't know. Like, this is not that hard to do, but please make sure it's ready. So, like, if you have, like, you've networked, right? You did that step 1, you had cool drinks to, like, a VC, and, like, they're interested in your idea. That same evening, you can send your data room link or whatever it is, right? Next point, de-risk. So, even though we VCs are supposedly like the people that gamble on people, right? Like we are actually kind of pussies. So there are different kinds of risk, right? Like founder risk, like is this person like not a scammer, right? Market risk, like is this industry gonna go somewhere, or is it like politically charged? Like, like maybe you're doing e-gambling and like you're hearing rumors that there's like a bill that's going to ban it forever or something like that, right? So anyway, like as a founder, like first of all, I say de-risk realistically because you have to acknowledge what the risks in your business are. And again, you have to be your own expert, right? So please know what the potential risks are. Is it you? Like, oh, you're a first-time founder, you don't know anything, right? Like whatever. But anyway, whatever those risks are, identify them for yourself and then kind of like think through, right? Like, 'cause those are the usual questions that, you know, again, any investor would ask. Like, how do you de-risk or mitigate, right? Like, you know, it's my first time starting a business, but I've worked in a startup before, or whatever, right? Or I'm going to hire someone that's doing this and this. I don't know what it is, right? But like, try to de-risk to hopefully improve your chances of like getting funding. And then what's in a good pitch? Again, have a clear story, have a credible plan and urgency. So like, why you and why now? So I wrote it down there. And definitely have a defined asks with milestones. So like, you know, I'm going to need $10,000 so that I can hire 2 engineers, and like that's going to allow me to have my website like have XYZ features, like whatever it is, like whether it's a product milestone, a customer milestone, like have some milestones associated with your ask. And then I think it's also really important, right? If you're rejected, learn to extract feedback from that rejection. Like, you know, try to have a conversation with the people that rejected you or something, right? Like most of the feedback, like I mean, most of us are happy to talk and give feedback and it's not personal, but learn from it. So I also just wanted to kind of point out this quick graphic of where do VCs find early stage startups, right? And like, basically like all of these, right? Like all of the big bars, except for quantitative sourcing, is basically through networking or somebody referring you. So again, like your reputation is one of the most important things you have as a startup or as a founder. Please like pay attention to it and yeah, don't take it for granted. I'm running out of time, so I'll just kind of quickly do the next slide, but I wanted to spend a bit more time on fundraising because I feel like that was something people care about. So yeah, if we could do the next slide. I'm just gonna super quickly, like this is again like a whole class I didn't start at Stanford, but I just kind of want to quickly share a few things from the side of the VC, right? Like these are the things that we care about as investors. Like, so let's say number 1, right? Like home runs matter, strikeouts don't. Like this kind of ties back into like the bigness of the TAM or the idea. Like, I guess VCs like to bet on things that have the potential to return like 10, 20x, right? Like that's the only way we're going to give money back to our investors, the limited partners. So again, if your idea isn't like potentially big enough, you might be better off trying to like be profitable, for example, than raising investor money. So, and you know, these are sort of related to like doubling down, like agreeing to disagree, like, you know, conviction is really important. So it's not about having everybody like your idea a little bit. It's about finding like an investor or 2 that will really back you and kind of care about your idea, right? So, and yeah, like I guess number 4 is also important. Like, I think the VC tendency is to say no 100 times. Like, you know, like you'll like, it's super normal, like to not expect a yes from the start. But the important thing is that you do get a yes by like, again, just even 1 or 2 people that like feel really passionately about what you're doing, rather than, you know, like, I think the death knell for any kind of founder conversation is sort of like, oh yeah, we'll get back to you. Or like you get kind of pawned off to like an associate that will never get back to you. So anyway, like this sort of like, yeah, you can read about this in the Venture Mindset book. It's a really good one, but like I won't dig into this now. So anyway, last few slides. Next, please. Next slide, please. So yeah, okay, like I think this is like I'm about to wrap up my 10 things. So number 9, like just please remember, like raising money is not the goal, right? Like getting money is supposed to be for you to build your business. Like you are investing in a business at the end of the day. So don't forget the fundamentals of your business. So the easy way to remember this for me is the 5 T's, like TAM, target addressable market, traction, team, the tech, and timing, right? So I think I went through most of these earlier. So again, like, and then I guess one other kind of thought or way to frame this for me is like, again, I miss the coupons at Kubo, right? But like calabaos and unicorns, like unicorns, yes, like they're the ones that we tend to invest in, like venture capital specifically, but there are many other places to get money. I just want to reinforce that, right? So yes, they're rare and mythical, right? And things like that. But like, there's also like everything right. Like there's nothing wrong with like a Calabao business, right? Like a business that is generating profit, that can stand the test of time, that can deliver value for people, right? Like, so don't hate on the Calabaos. Like again, maybe your startup is, kind of unicorn bound, right? But even if it's a Calabao, make it the best freaking Calabao, right? Like, so, you know, try to think about what's the right fit for your business. Like, should you be raising venture capital? Maybe you're better off like, just doing some angel investments, getting started, and then being actually profitable. Like in this day and age with so many startups and kind of going bust, like if you kind of mess up your cap table, get too much money too early, all sorts of things like that, like that can actually ruin like a perfectly good business. So when you're fundraising, right, like make sure that you're focusing on the goal, right? Like solving the problem, delivering the value, making sure your employees make money, right? And, like all of these things, right? Like don't just fixate on like raising VC because that's the thing that gets you on the news or makes you famous or something. So, and I think that leads me to number 10. Next slide, please. Yeah, so it's pretty basic, right? Like, actually, like I think I'm not sure it's McKinsey, but like one of these big consulting firms did a study on like what determines the success of a startup. A lot of it is timing. Like it was some inordinate amount, right? Like no matter how many PhDs you have in your team or like, how much money you've raised, like just having the right idea at the right time is like almost a third of the game, I want to say. And luck too. So, I really wish you well. Like it's great that you're here. But you'll find it, right? Like that's a thing. Like because a lot of this is timing and luck, that's the stuff that maybe you can't control. What you can't control are some of the other things I mentioned, right? Like knowing your market, getting traction, building a good team. Like these are kind of solid fundamentals for building your startup. And again, good startups, like investors will find you even. Like they'll be kind of battling to be your investor. Like, if you're building something great that like is catching so much momentum, like I think that's what you should be focusing on as a founder, right? So, and then my final thought is my next slide. Yeah, I forgot what I had here, but yeah. Next slide, please. Yeah. So okay, yeah, that was my final thought. So yeah, don't be afraid to fail. Be afraid not to try, in the words of Michael Jordan, I believe. And there are different kinds of fear, right? So one fear that I see a lot, like among investors, especially this is common, but even among founders, right, is like fear of missing out. So, they're just doing what's cool, right? So if everybody's trying to get into this startup or this founder, like they just go as an investor, right? But even as founders, right, like, a couple years ago, it was like, what? It's like whatever the trendy thing is. Like right now, it's definitely AI. Like people are randomly throwing AI into their pitch decks, even if it doesn't make sense. It was probably like crypto or Web3 a couple of years ago, So like, don't be driven by FOMO. Be driven by something, again, about building your business. Fear of failure. I know this is hard with our culture, right? Like our parents expect this. Like I didn't send you to college just so, you'll fail. But I think failing is such an important part of also, it's like failing forward is such a cliche, but it really is like a process of learning something that's like really important. And yeah. And I think it does come naturally with a startup. Like if you're having linear progress, that's great for you as a business, right? But like if you're actually doing something super innovative, no one's done this before, expect that like in the beginning, no one will know, no one will care, right? Like, I mean, that's sort of the trade-off with doing a startup versus a safer business. But, like, again, don't be afraid, right? Like, so be afraid not to try. So, yeah, I think that's it. That's my final thought. I'm not sure if there's time for Q&A, but if not, then I guess we can jump to the startup pitch feedback session. Thank you so much for listening.
Thank
Hi,
you so
Tina.
much. Thank you so much, Kat. That was amazing. I have one question and then there's one question in the chat. The main
Sure.
question I have is I want to step back a little bit. How do people know that what they're building is a tech startup or a small business or a service business?
Sure. I think so. Usually for the tech startups, we have sort of three tests we look at, right? So, a startup is like it has like to be a tech startup slash the kind that would typically go for VC funding. I think I mentioned this element, right? It has to be scalable, so it has to be something that you can build a ton of really quickly. Like I mean the classic example here is sort of like Airbnb has the most available rooms now, but they never built a single one, right? Like in a few years, like so if it's the kind of business where you don't need to replicate, like in a service business, like you need to replicate yourself, right? Like you need like 5 lawyers to do like 80 hours of work or whatever, right? Like so in a kind of venture backable startup, usually that's not the business model. So scalability is definitely one element of it, right? Something that's non-obvious, like so it should be different from the way things are currently being done, like whatever the status quo is, right? Like so I think, again, these are old examples, but if you think about Grab or the sharing economy, right? Like it would have been unimaginable like 15 years ago to like ride in a stranger's car, but like people do it all the time now. So it's a kind of idea where it's not like the current way of doing things. That's usually also kind of like a marker for potentially a business that could be kind of venture backable. And then I suppose, so that's like the non-obvious part. And then the third piece would be like, like a startup is sort of a project, right? It's a temporary state of being. So like no one's ever like a startup forever. You kind of either graduate into, you figured out the business model and you're kind of scaling already, but then, or you fail, right? There's another outcome, or you kind of pivot again. But like, so there's that. So thanks for the question. I'm not sure if I answered it. Obviously, like a small business, again, you're looking for reproducible kind of revenue that's like, and usually it's like it scales linearly as opposed to like, kind of growing your users in an exponential way, right? So, yeah.
Fantastic. Thank you. Thank you so much, Kat. There are questions in the chat. And if those of you, we can go over the hour. If Kat, if you have time, we can answer some of the questions in the chat after the pitch,
Right.
but we have 20 minutes approximately left in the hour. I want to make sure some people can only stay an hour. So I want to go ahead and start with the pitching competition. Joe, and not pitching competition, just practice pitch. Joe and Ken, I made you a co-host and I wanted to invite Ken so you can share your screen if you're ready. And Joe, you can do next. So what we do is we do the 5-minute pitch back to back, and then we'll do the feedback after that. Again, we want to be conscious about time. So 5 minutes only for your pitch. We'll do this, the pitch and the feedback till the hour. And then for those of you who can stay after the hour, we'll be staying for 15 to 20 minutes or so. Okay. Ken, are you ready? There you go.
Good evening, everyone. Can you hear me?
Can we spotlight Ken, please?
Can you hear me?
Yes. Fantastic.
Yes.
We can see your screen. Thank you.
Hi everyone, good evening. I'm Kenneth. I'm the founder of Stats Central, and what we do is we help small and medium-sized leagues turn their sports data to more revenue and automate the pro level video live streaming. We provide an all-in-one platform to small and medium-sized leagues, from league management down to the data management and down to selling their advertisement. So last year, while I was thinking of new idea because I failed from my previous venture called Presenter, we were playing basketball, and I was wondering why we're not able to record our stats. And then when we check also with existing platforms, most of the stats platform right now it's already designed for professional. And that's why I get interested with the idea when we had discussion with the people that we met in the basketball leagues. With a lack of margin dilemma. He's the founder of Badbit Basketball League. Right now, most of the sports data platform, they're very expensive. It's designed for major leagues. And one of the requirements now also, if you're running a basketball league, you really have to produce a live streaming, which is running a live streaming. It's very complicated, especially if you have the scoring. And most of the leagues also, they're really dependent on the registration fees. And that's why we built Stats Central to really help these small and medium-sized leagues to have a professional records for the players and to have sports data collections by driven by the community, and we can use those sports data collections to automate their live streaming video overlays such as the scoreboard. And lastly, also is we provide in a platform so that they can add more revenue streams to their leagues. What we're doing is we're charging per player per season per league. So basically, we charge them for $6 per season, and we charge also for the teams and players per month for subscription if they want to access advanced data. And we charge also players for annual verifications to ensure that we have reliable information in the platform. So these are the key benefits of our platform. So players, they have their own profile and stats from their history of records. And we have also like in-game, like live stats similar to the NBA. And we provide also tools for the players to understand their previous games and also to understand their next opponent by using our AI and also by using our data, trying to understand the strength and trying to provide data based on the strengths and weaknesses of the player and also for the team. We have also benefits that we offer for the league. Usually leagues, you have like, league management, team management, and also game management. We have also real-time play-by-play. And we provide also leagues their own standalone website, similar to Shopify, which they can add more revenues to their running leagues. So here's some competition. So most of the sports data, they're designed for major leagues. So they're very expensive. For example, it's Sports Radar and Genius Sports. They're designed for like NBA, FIFA, which most of these small and medium-sized leagues, they cannot afford to implement it. And most of these sports data, as well as they have, manual records for small leagues. So what we do is really like trying to make it available to the small and medium size and providing it cheaper to them. And our target market is, we're targeting like common leagues here in the Philippines from any sports, any incremental sports, basketball, football, volleyball, even pickleball. And we're currently working also with, other countries like Australia and Canada. So we're hoping also to introduce this platform to them. So since our beta launch this March, so we did like initial development like around February, and then we did like the initial deployment like around March, and we now have like almost we now have like 32 leagues. We have few paid players. We now have almost 200 teams. Right now is we almost have like 2,000 players, and we're hoping also to reach that to 3,000 with the end of the month. And we receive also 25,000 credits from Google. So we have from basketball, pickleball, and volleyball, and we're currently working also with with volleyball. I mean football. So I've been running solo, but I have a number of interns and also a partner with from UK, right, trying to help on the tech side. And I've been in this tech scene for a while now. I feel like multiple times already. I guess you've seen me in a number of events. But one of the things that I really like on this venture, it's been the easiest selling job that I had as a founder, And so far, those effort that we made initially really like came to the point where we need to move fast. And I have also I've been running company. I run once like 40 plus employees, and I've been a technopreneur since 2017. We're currently raising for angel round because we have like a lot of commitments with our leagues right now. So just to really like help us to deliver, we're earning a bit of the money, just enough for us to survive. But of course, ensuring the deliver high quality informations and high quality results also to these leagues. We want at least additional funding, and we hope also to reach at least 10,000 players within the 6 months. So that's Stats Central. So what we're aiming is wherever the player plays, the records are centralized. We want the records to be available publicly, and we want them to be recognized as a player, not only here in the Philippines but also globally. Thank you. Sorry, this is my first time teaching stats.
Okay, that's really good.
Thank you, Ken. We'll do the feedback after. Joe, are you ready? You can go ahead and share your screen, please.
Okay, wait. Well, can you see my screen now? Not yet. Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you, but I don't think we can see your screen yet.
All right, wait. Huh? Sorry, this is my first time, so.
That's okay. Hey, Ken, let me ask you a question. So You started March 2025, and how many users do you have?
We now have 1,940 to be specific. Yeah.
Wow,
Very good.
that's amazing.
I haven't like for about straight to 3 weeks now.
No, that's the thing, right? Like that's the thing. When there's traction, it's sexy, man. Like,
So can you hear me now? Can you see my screen now?
Yes, it says Nego Hack. Go ahead,
Yes.
Joe.
So good evening, everyone. So I'm Joe. I'm from England, Cebu. So let's just introduce that it's a Nego Hack. It's a behavior-first mobile app, micro insurance platform, empowering informal micro entrepreneurs to stay resilient and operationally even after shocks. So what are the shocks? So basically, we are a climate, shocks, air locations for typhoon, earthquakes, flooding, especially like in the past months, weeks. So that's basically our problem. So why? Bakit nawawala?
Oh, we're good. We can see the second slide, page 2. We can see slide 2.
Okay. So in the Philippines, so yun nga, I said, so we help micro entrepreneurs like daily activities to unlock insurance and recovery plans and rewards. So why we think about this? So our bigger problem is most of 10% of our micro entrepreneurs are permanently closed or after shocks, and mostly of them has like less than 10% have BCP or business continuity plan, and very few or rare to have insurance. So there's plenty of insurance, and mostly of this insurance coverage of these micro entrepreneurs are most likely life insurance, but there's no enterprise business insurance coverage that covered especially after shocks. So the problem basically is millions of Filipinos, micro entrepreneurs, lack of safety nets. So as mentioned, there's the lack of business continuity plan, and very few have insurance, leaving livelihood exposed. So the impact is micro enterprises risk permanent closure. So of course, there are people working on them. So if they close, also lose jobs. And supplier also to those micro entrepreneurs also lowering their demands. And the community will also have face lower recovery and, turns to higher poverty. That's the impact. So as Jim mentioned, so it's 8 million micro enterprises in the Philippines and remain highly vulnerable to disasters and economic shocks due to limited risk, especially on planning, very low insurance coverage, and lack of access to recovery finance. So leading to high closure rates, job loss, and prolonged community level disruptions. Okay, I think that's good. So what are the affected stakeholders? So basically the micro enterprises, the owners, their employees, and the local communities. So what's the impact? So owner face business closures. So we ran through this during 5Y analysis. So most of the what it is the root cause. So most of the micro enterprises remain informal and lack of safety nets because financial products and recovery programs and policy reforms primarily serve already registered business. So 80% of the micro entrepreneurs in the Philippines are unregistered. They are informal, leaving the majority excluded due to the paperwork, digital literacy, and access barrier, perpetuating vulnerability to the shocks and closure. So to me personally, I'm a founder who lost my business in COVID and all that. We've seen family suffer from livelihood vanish. So as right now, I'm in Manulife as a unit manager. So as a financial advisor, we're driven to help informal entrepreneurs survive shocks, protect their families, and build lasting resilience through better financial planning and access to the solutions. So our target market is basically Nailisa, who is the informal sari-sari store with a market stall or set vendors. We're gonna plan to pilot that in Cebu. And also our secondary segment is the LGU, the government, the insurer, the micro lenders, the NGO supporting the micro enterprises to resilience and recovery programs. So with our problem validations, we have early market validations we just interviewed. So basically, key findings here is most of our micro entrepreneur relies on memories. They don't have cash buffers. Vulnerability on shocks, they have no idea. And the state needs is they don't have way to know what how much is they really earning. They cannot separate the personal and business incomes. So basically, our traction signals is 8 out of 10 combined. They want to track and 8 credits because right now most of them are asking credits from loan sharks or 5 6. All right. So our solutions based on these problems, we did the scamper analysis and we come up with the idea of the digital micro ERP, which is available already in the market, a tools that daily logs the data, but an AI on it holds the holistic BCP from these logs, unlocking insurance and government support, assisting them. So our core technology is a smart planning tool powered by AI. So it's a mobile-friendly system, automatic insurance, habit reminders, and reward. So basically, the solution is a digital micro ERP where micro enterprise logs daily data. The AI part of that is will build the BCP from these logs, unlocking micro insurance and government supports. So as key features is will be AI powered. It will generate automatically ISO grade BCPs and also rewards their process during loggings. Uniqueness, it turns simple daily business logging into protections and auto building recovery plan. So we're not doing any or disrupting anything about what micro entrepreneurs is doing. We just need them to log in easy manner. So it's like talking to a chat GPT. So you just log it through voice and it will be also supporting our language, Visaya. So it will be easy for a low tech, no, hindi masyadong, can't speak English or Tagalog. So it will have easy to understand, the app will understand the logs. So right now, our competitions basically is, the microinsurance provider, the Singlife and Iglo. And also, of course, the one who's dominating our e-wallet are the Gcash and Maya. And we have others, ERP models. But our products and services will be better than the competitor solution because it has integrated ERP, the auto BCP builder, and the insurance in one offline first app. And it will be tailored for user usability for low digital literacy with Taglish, Bisaya support. And of course, this is also gamifying their behaviors. So they keep lagging, they keep earning points. And also those points can unlock insurance, can unlock formalizations, and other rewards. So our market TAM is basically at 8.64 billion. This is the micro enterprise with the SAM with this 2.6 billion and with the serviceable of the SOM focusly on within Cebu and Visayas region for year 2. So our assumption is urban formal and informal micro enterprise and then Cebu. So our revenue model will be a premium model. So they will be
Joe, you have 1 minute, please. 1 minute left, Joe.
Okay, I'll wrap it up. So the revenue model is a premium model for the micro enterprises. It will be have approved tiers for unlocking using the points that they are reward, and the secondary model is the commission based on the insurance. So this is just the alignment or lane canvas. So this is just a founder note. So I lost my business, but it gave birth to something bigger. So I'm a solo founder from Mindanao, Cebu. For over a decade, I ran a gadget shop, a restaurant, my neighborhood, and my team's home, and my community hub. So COVID-19 shut us down overnight. I drained my savings and took a debt just to keep my staff paid. When restriction is, I tried to open until typhoon that tore everything apart. One night left me with no roof, no inventory, no aid, and no safety net. By 2024, I forced to close. But what I saw from that loss, I stepped back. I saw the gap that there's no simple way of microbusiness to prepare for and recover. So NegoHack is the missing tool built from failure to help MSMEs survive, formalize, insured, and rise again. All right, that's it. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Joe. Go ahead and unshare. And Kat.
Yeah, thanks, Joe. I could really tell you're passionate about that. So wait, so Tina, should I do this? Should I go Joe then, or Ken first?
It's up to you. You can ask them to reshare their screens if they want to.
If it's okay, I'll start with Joe na lang because I think it's a bit shorter and also mas fresh. So yeah, so Joe. Yeah, I mean, first of all, thank you so much for sharing. And again, your passion about this project really comes through to me now. So, and I think that's a great starting point. I'll quickly bridge to Ken. I think that's one thing that Ken, for example, is missing is parang I wanted to hear a story maybe to ground like why this problem is important. And that's definitely a good thing with what you have. I mean, obviously I could tell you're quite early in this process. I would definitely work on the deck. Like to me, it was unclear. And I think I mentioned this to you in our brief email. Like parang when you're creating a deck, you should have in mind like who the audience is for your deck, right? So honestly, like just from like first impressions, this doesn't sound to me like a business that would be venture backable, but I do think it's a great kind of project or business that could be supported by grants, could be like there are other ways to think about, or maybe even strategic partnerships with like I don't know, insurance companies, with like grocery chains, yung mga ganyan, no, if it's sari-sari stores, which is like your photos, no. Just because again, like, and why do I say that, right? Like I think you haven't stated like what your kind of replicable revenue model is. Like I could see this business getting funded again through grants and stuff like that, but is it something that can be sustained, right? And have like some kind of predictable and increasing revenue model. Like this is a great space. So if you think about grocery, they raised like a Series D, right? Packworks raised like a Series A, Series B, and they even have ADB Ventures like funding them, for example. So this parang micro MSME business is a good TAM. Like, so I think I definitely agree with that. But I think you haven't really, I think you need to think more about, right? Like, you've identified that it's a very high risk market, right? So who's kind of taking on that risk, right? So, and usually like parang a VC wouldn't be the one taking on that risk. Again, maybe a grant organization, even government, right? And stuff like that would be the ones potentially funding this. And again, it's a different kind of business model. For the deck itself, again, you need to streamline it. Like there are kind of templates to, I mean, I'm sure you also use all of the common AIs, right? Like parang you expect to say like, again, if this were an investor deck, it would be a kind of bad one just because you don't hit the parang main points that you expect to hear. There's way too much text everywhere, right? Like,
No, I understand.
And even from a flow perspective, like again, it's difficult to see it as a business, but it can be, right? So I think there are a few things to think about, like maybe kind of targeting your deck to, again, because I hope this kind of business succeeds, right? Targeting it to parang organizations that would support it, in which case the flow would be oriented towards that. If you are really kind of set on the raising money from VCs route, then it's a much more time than we have today, right? To kind of rework it to have a clear sort of business model. Like freemium plus secondary is like just, it's not clear enough, right? Like how do you make money and how will this business grow, if I'm being honest? And then I guess another thing to think about is, again, para strategic partnerships, like this could be a feature of another thing, right? Like that's kind of what I'm thinking about. Kasi parang building an ERP from scratch, like if your SOM is like 22 million pesos, it's like barely enough to build like a really good ERP, and a lot of ERPs exist, right? So maybe if you feel really strongly about this and you have the expertise to make it happen, parang it could be folded into another solution. So that's probably a third path like I would want you to explore, because you can really burn a lot of money, time, resources trying of rebuilding an ERP that in my mind already kind of exists, right? Like a chat with ganon. Like again, I know grocery has this, I know Packworks has this, right? Like I know there are other companies that I'm not even thinking about right now that like have kind of like similar features or maybe addressing a similar market. Tina, you have your hand raised?
Yes, so I'm just conscious about the time. I wanted to take a short break, but Joel, very brave, very exciting stuff for you.
Yeah.
So work to do.
Totally.
Yeah.
Actually,
but I wanted to invite.
I also want to emphasize that though. Like, sorry, like I'm just kind of rattling things off. Pero I do
Actually,
love
I'm
trying to
surprised.
like.
I'm surprised to learn it this morning. So okay, I'm just cramming up what's gonna happen right now.
Okay,
Actually, for
fantastic.
a first pitch, by the way, that was really exceptional. So you did really well. Like, I think I'm hoping that you can work on these things because, like, what you're working on is so important and so good, right? So I think it's
Thank
just
you.
about repackaging it a bit, and again, spending a bit more time, kind of like thinking about how to do slides and stuff like that. But like the message is there, the story is there, the passion from you is definitely there, right? So, so more power to you, man. Like, good luck.
Thank you.
So at this point, we're going to comment on the second one. But before we do that, can we invite everyone? I have to do a commercial. Can you can you guys be on video, please? We need to do a screenshot so everyone knows what we're doing. So you can unspotlight Kat, please. Please be on video. And everybody, if you want to take a screenshot and then someone send me a copy, I would appreciate it. I want to smile when I do the screenshot. I don't know how to do that. So Fiel and Ron and Josh, Joanne, I know that you're on the line. Hey, Miss Nanette, Liam, Jinky, everyone. Okay, ready? Say peace or whatever. 1, 2, 3, smile. There you go. All right. Thank you so much. Joe, you are in the right group. This is why you're here to learn, right? So
Thank you.
I just saw RD the Net here, man. Like,
yes.
DTI and like, Small Business Bureau. That's definitely something you should hit up, man. Like,
they have a Startup Island mentoring program, so check that out. But go ahead to the next feedback for Ken.
Yeah, I hope you guys aren't bored. So I'll do my feedback for Ken naman. And for everyone else, if you have questions, again, like I don't know if you have time, but I'll try to hit them up on the chat. Okay. So Ken, great job. As I was saying earlier, apparently the fact that first pitch couldn't tell, like I was definitely more nervous whenever I do a first pitch. So. And you mentioned briefly something I wanted to kind of emphasize na parang this is one of the easiest things you've ever had to pitch. I think that's always a great sign. Like parang if you're not hard selling something, it means people actually have a problem or like the idea, right? Like you're not forcing them to try it out or whatever. That's always a great sign. So if you could pull up your deck again, that would be great.
Sure.
So I think you mostly hit naman the kind of notes, right? Like I was telling Joe earlier. I don't know if Joe's still here, but like like this definitely reads more like a standard pitch deck. So
I'm confused with that.
your first page, this is too much, right? Like you need a one-liner. I think the all-in-one platform built for your sports league might be the thing you need in bold, maybe. Like even just something as easy as that, right? Like and then, because they have your own leagues, blah, 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 that these are all features, right? We help, like, this is your features and benefits thing. It's a bit too much on your entry page, right? And then, this thing on the left, this photo, is this a real thing? Like, is this a Pinoy league?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Okay, yeah, because I was going to say, like, if you have real... as I mentioned earlier, it would be good if you had, like, a problem/story like this part. I think needs to be a walkthrough because like you can't assume that. Well, for example, I'll just give myself an example. I don't know anything about Liga stuff, right? So I would say like, and honestly, a lot of the VCs also aren't very athletic. So anyway, like, parang walk through like who your target customer is, but parang have that fictional profile or a real customer, right? A real league, diba? Parang, or even yourself, like, have you experienced this problem? Are you passionate about sports? Why did you come up with this, right? I have my own league. I do this. These are the problems we encountered, right? Because I don't think your first, and again, usually you want to organize this so that your strongest points are up top. So like, I don't think sports data is expensive. It's like, you're like that's not your main problem. I assume if you're running a league, parang you have a bunch of problems. Maybe like it's hard to make money running a league, or it's like we don't have the expertise to build a website. Like those are the problem. I would say the being expensive is sort of not the first thing on the list. Or it's not the most impactful anyway, right? So So I would kind of simplify it again, maybe complexity, maybe they need other sources of revenue, stuff like that, right? To kind of really have a problem. And then again, I think it should be clear here that the league is your customer, because initially I wasn't super clear if the players were your customer
Yeah,
because of
actually,
this.
I was
Right.
confused at the beginning because
Yeah,
this
so
like designed for the
parang
league.
is this a B2B thing? Is this like, you want like a bunch of downloads from amateur
Yeah.
players? Parang I couldn't tell from this slide, and I should be able to, right? And
And then,
then I think I would sort of jump back. Like you never really mention your TAM, right?
yeah, that's
Or you do,
right.
but it's a bit muddled. Parang I feel like, again, because I wasn't clear if your customer was the advertisers or the players or the ganon, parang, and I'm sure you want to say all this year, parang this year kind of yeah, but how many are they, right? Like
It's really
parang ganon,
hard.
there are 50,000 informal leagues in the Philippines, right? Or I don't know. Again, I have no idea what the number is. I'm just making it up, right? Pero,
Yeah.
because I think that also drives to parang your revenue, which comes later. For example, because if you're doing like an advertising driven also, apart from the subscriptions, parang then you want to show how big, like how many eyeballs are gonna see this, or if it's leagues, then how many leagues are gonna download this, right? Okay. I think the pricing comes too early.
Yeah, here.
So like that's like sell me first, man, right? Like diba? Like, sorry, like this is just, I'm sure you've heard this before, you know this, right? Pero like I'm not even sold yet. Like your features and benefits come after your pricing. That's a bit no go, right? So and then even organizing this price, and then since we're already on the pricing slide, parang organizing it better. Again, the segments aren't that clear. Parang
Understood.
so parang are you selling primarily to the leagues, which is what I assumed you were doing? Tama ba?
No, the thing kasi here is we're partnering with the league, but we're charging also the player per league, which is on top of the registration fee. The thing kasi if
So
you're gonna
okay,
go,
I'm running a league, or I'm like the league organizer. I pay you a fixed fee, parang ganun, or I pay this
fixed fee
per
for
player.
300 for $6 per player per season. Yeah.
I would rethink that, right? Just think about like, kasi parang you want to give the leagues the incentive to get more of their players on. So parang if they're charging per player on the league, parang they would not want to parang add more players, for example, and you really want to have network effects driving this whole thing, right? So parang maybe think about like a fixed fee per league. Siguro depending on your league size, like you can have tiers, or like, diba, parang leagues of 100 players or more. Parang something like that, but like parang kasi if the fee is parang a direct proportion of number of parang users, then there's like a disincentive for the league to onboard their members, and that works against you, I guess, in terms of. Pero again, definitely bring this way back, like or later. Pero and then if the biggest customer is the league, like make that bigger. Because parang these are all equal. Parang I actually almost thought it was like yung parang next plan has more stuff than the next plan. But parang when I read it, I was like, no, these are actually addressing totally different customers, right? So parang like the players and player verification, is that paid by the player?
No, it's paid by the player. No, it's completely different. Verification of the player is it will require yung mga athletic measurement, which we have partnership also with the league. So different talaga yun. And then we validated also to actually 7 players already paid for our verification.
I see.
To have their, let's say, vertical jump, and then they have their sprint, and then their height. So it needs to be confirmed by a third party, which is the partner league we have. Yeah.
Right. I mean, I kind of want to say like at least put them in the same parang big bucket. Like players is parang this is like an add-on, like a premium feature pa player verification, right? Pero parang having them presented this way is kind of not working, doing you any favors, I think. Anyway, so let's move on. Benefits. Again, you could improve this. Like actually just talk about, like there's way too many screenshots. You can't really read them, right? So I would almost just talk about it. Baka nice, clean, like bullets or icons or something. Kasi parang this could always be thrown into like a backup slide or something. Or a demo, di ba? Pero
Actually, I get this from our demo.
yeah. I mean, again, this is something you can easily improve. I just don't think it's like the best way to present this. But again, have people buy it first, then hit them with how much you have to pay. Pero of course, they have to be convinced that they need this. And again, tie it back to the problem, right? Like, why do I need all of this stuff? Again, if you'd explained it earlier, na parang, kumare, di ba, for the league, ito yung mga challenges nila and like we address it. For the player, ito yung challenges nila and this is how we address it. Like, kind of map it that way. I think that's diba, like I think some of this is cool, right? Like yung parang you get to check out your next game, parang diba, parang common play. Like if you're an athlete and you want to improve your performance, you want to check out your competition, diba? Yun yung problem mo, diba? And then this is the benefit that addresses that problem. Parang it has to map. And then the Shopify, like that was a weird reference to me because you're not doing e-commerce, or are you?
No, the thing with it will be an e-commerce later on.
But right now it's just a dashboard, right?
No, we have stores also in the platform. Yeah, because for example, in our partner,
okay, like first of all, this second bullet is the main thing you should have, right? It's like this is what it is: manage teams, schedule games, blah blah blah. Then, by the way, all the data is managed on that central app, right? And then maybe combine this with the previous, parang this is all the stuff for the league, right? You have a dashboard, you have an app, blah, 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 right? Like it doesn't need 2 slides. Okay, sorry. Then, Tina, cut me off na lang if I'm getting super detailed.
We have 2 minutes, 2 minutes.
Okay, next slide. Sige, let's get to the... Okay, I kind of hate this. This slide sucks. Sorry, like I think all VCs, we agree we don't like this slide. Parang no one will ever make this na parang X yung sayo and then naka-check yung sa ibang tao. Right? It's useless. Like no one pays attention to this. So, because you're cherry picking features that you have and someone else doesn't have. Pero like I'm sure Turnify has a slide that has like, sila laman yung naka-check. So this is kind of a useless slide. Like kind of just pinpoint what's really cool about, or what makes it different, or if the main thing is that, we just focus on the key things and it's super cheap, maybe that's the sell, right? Pero this is kind of a non-slide, like talk about 2 or 3 things. Again, tell a story if you can, right? Like, what makes this super perfect for small time ligas, right? Like, I don't know, like find an angle, stick to it, right? Next, please.
That's a good feedback.
I do like that you have traction. Like, well, okay, this one could be better. Again, maybe make it not necessarily like a TAM slide, but like, what are the target market? I'm assuming you're starting in the Philippines, but again, give me a number about how many leagues there are, how many players exist, right? Approximately, something like that, right? And then other countries, like, what are the top leagues in? I don't know. Don't just say ASEAN, MENA. Like it's too broad, man. Like I think, I
understand.
Yeah, and then even target sports, parang which ones and why, kind of like, or at least talk about it. Why I don't know, because I'm sure certain leagues are more. Basketball, I would assume in the Philippines, parang they're relatively better organized. I don't know, football, I would say also. Parang. Why these leagues, or dahil ba meron ka ng connection with them, right? Like, what's the credibility that you can, the proof, right? That you can be the one to attract these leagues, I think is kind of, and again, just improve visually. Traction, again, amazing that you have it. Like, I think that's, I'd even say you could put this earlier if you can work it in. Definitely before the pricing, maybe. But yeah, like the fact that you've done this for like since March and you already have these partners,
it's been.
This is really good. I would take out this received 25K credits or move it somewhere else. Pero parang I think this is a really powerful slide. I would even like, not like our growing partner leagues, like I'd even put maybe the thing below, like 32 leagues. I don't know.
Yeah, I was thinking.
Yeah, parang highlight this because this is like a lot of people don't have traction, right?
Yeah.
I don't even know if your product sucks, pero like, even if it does, people are using it. And even talk about like what the current solution is. Like, again, this might be going back to the think of your story. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know, like, how are they doing it now? They're all on Facebook groups or whatever it is, right? Like, and like, they're all loving this product and moving over here or whatever. And if it's actually sticky, I would emphasize that. I don't know if it is. I hope it is. Diba? Like, they're regularly using it, like repeat use, or they're using it for every game in the ganon. I don't know. Or if it's like they downloaded it once, tapos they forgot about it. I don't know, right? Like, don't lie, pero if that's a good thing, you should highlight it. And then last couple of things, malapit na to, diba? Oh yeah, obviously don't emphasize this. Talk about why. Yun nga, again, why you, right? I don't think I've been working solo is like a great title. You could say that, you know, right now I'm just solo, but in spite of that, I've done this. I would even put the logos of your failed startups if you're talking about like you know, that you're an experienced entrepreneur. If you have any street cred in terms of the leagues or mga network in that thing, like I would definitely put that. Even just saying like, I'm in a league, man, like, you know, anything like that. But this is like, there are so many ways you can talk about yourself. This is not like, and then even putting your email here, it's not even your last slide, right? So that's
exactly. I just did this.
Okay.
Are we
yeah, parang parang this is like your contact info slide, which doesn't make sense here.
Yeah,
And
I
then
understand.
you have your ask, which is again could be better. I think I talked about this in my talk if you were paying attention. Pero like, clear out parang separate this milestone, and then parang don't just say operation market. Like, is it like you're hiring people? Is it? I think register in SG is clear, pero parang the others are like, yeah, is it hiring or you're just gonna spend more money on ads, or parang it's not super clear where the money is gonna go. And then professional league, schools, and government tournaments. Like, I think you have to separate the milestone and the goals and the things you're gonna do, and versus like what you're gonna do with the money, right? But at least you asked for a specific amount. Try to break it down. But I mean, again, slight improvement. At least you have an ask, so that's good. And yeah, for a first time pitch, again, very good job. And then again, your last thing, make it snappier, ChatGPT it, right? Like, I'm sure it can turn it into like a cute, snappier one-liner. It's that central. Yay, I don't know. But yeah, very good job. So this is pretty exciting. 50K is kind of realistic, pero parang again, siguro my last point for you would be, I don't know, like think about who your target investors would be. I kind of suspect you might want angels lang. And like, you know, find people that are kind of passionate about sports, right?
Yeah, actually, well, I'm talking to a number of leagues in the US, Kaz, which
Yeah, that's cool.
with them. So
yeah, this is like easy for them, right? So I think you should consider, like you should, parang I wouldn't do the VC route at this point. Probably look at parang non-traditional, parang
focus on angel investment right
na have some in on the things you want to do, right? So, that's probably my final tip for you. So,
tip, amazing.
Okay, sorry. Okay.
Amazing one-on-one. But it's not just for you, Ken. It's for everybody. Everybody listening. Thank you for staying over. We're 20 minutes after the hour, but my message from a startup ecosystem builder and from Kat, this is amazing, detailed feedback. This is what builders and founders want. But the message I want to tell everyone, to Joe, to Ken, everyone who's building, we want you to succeed. It's not an easy journey. One way so you can succeed faster is to join a group like this, to join Startup Island. Don't build alone. So there's a saying, right? Don't have lunch alone. Don't build alone. We have a big community now. We have free events, Startup Island in Cebu. We have online events. You can reach out to us. We're on Facebook. We're on LinkedIn. Everyone here is part of your community and build in public. And I appreciate you all doing it. I do want to bring up Jan's question for Kat. Jan's question says, hi, Kat, is it possible to raise funds as a pre-revenue?
It's not impossible, but it's very rare. Like, let me put it that way. Parang, you know, like, it's not that hard to get some revenue. I always kind of, bring down the point about getting some traction, like, get some revenue, if not revenue, at least like a ton of users, right? Like some kind of validation that it exists. Like I think it's very difficult to raise outside fund. I mean, obviously you can convince your three Fs, right? Your friends, family, and fools to give you some money, pero parang to formally raise from institutional investors without any revenue, and especially parang pre-product or pre-validation is very challenging. Again, not impossible. Some people have done it, pero yeah, it's quite rare. I think the only people I know that have succeeded at doing that in the Philippines are like, like they already have a track record. Like maybe they've already built a company before super sikat na silang founder, right? And they exited na and something like that. But if it's your first time doing it, parang again, get some momentum for people to be excited to want to invest in your business, right? Because like I can come up with a pitch deck with all the AI stuff. Like there's literally AI stuff that's like, write me a pitch deck, right? Come up with 10 ideas. Like, so people rarely fund pitch decks anymore that there's no parang defensible mode. But if I already have 10,000 users or something, like you can kind of defend that. You can maybe fund that. So,
okay.
Yeah.
Thanks,
Hope
Miss
that
Kat.
answered your question.
Yeah, thank you for that. Miss Kat, and a follow-up question kay, where do we find a network of angel investors that could possibly fund, even if it's a pre-revenue, and like we get some traction?
Okay, I'll sort of directly answer your question, but then asterisk it a bit. Like in Manila, I know we have Main, right? Manila Angel Investors Network and stuff like. I think Cebu has their own. I'm not BizDoc, so I don't know, but I know it exists. But again, I was super asterisk that angel investors are more barat than institutional investors because it's their own money. Like I'm an angel investor, like I'm more kuripot with it because I know it's my money to lose, as opposed to like when I'm investing VC, like as a VC, parang it's my LP's money. Like you feel bad if you lose their money, pero it's not like your money. So I still would maintain what I said earlier. Now it's hard to raise money if you have no revenue whatsoever. Again, unless it's your kamag-anak or whatever, right? Like, but yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you, Miss Kat.
Thank you. Anyone else have any questions? We have 6 minutes to go, and then we might have to pay Kat overtime if we go over. But it's amazing feedback, and this is an opportunity. Any questions?
Can you share how NDC Startup Venture Fund works? What's their check size? How do they invite co-investors? So how does it work? So parang basically like they don't. Well, you can either. How does it work? So there's a board. I'm actually part of that board. We assess parang companies that come in for funding, and then it's similar to a VC. Like what's the check size? I think it can go up to $2 million, but on average it's way less, like mga 500K or even 300, 100K. So it's like they say they go everywhere from parang seed to Series B. Parang I think is the range. How do they invite co-investors? Basically, the co-investors apply, right? So if you want to be a co-investor, so you get accredited by the NDC SVF to be. So they have two mechanisms. They either fund the VC directly, and the VC does it once. But the more common thing that they do is most of the big VCs naman, and even some angel investors, like they get accredited with the NDC. So if you have your own investor already, they can also get accredited, and it would be like co-investment. So yeah, thanks, Noel.
We can't hear you, Noel. We can't hear you for some reason.
Okay.
Yeah. There you go. Go ahead. Yes.
Hi, Kat. Thanks
Hello.
for the talk, and thanks for sharing about NDC. So basically, on our experience, since our start is more like supported by government, since we got grants, and then our next step is on the NDC Star Fund Venture Fund, and we're actually raising now. So we have some meetings with some investors already. But with NDC Star Venture Fund, they said that they already forwarded it for co-investment. So we're one of the shortlisted. So I'm thinking, is it something like, do we have to do an effort to also find other co-investors on their behalf? Or because you mentioned there's accreditation also from NDC's side. So what happens if, for
Actually, most
example,
of the investors, I mean, I'm not sure who you're thinking about, but most of the a lot of investors are accredited na naman. So it should. Pero I think the idea kasi with NDC is like we're looking for startups that hindi lang kasi obviously the NDC money is taxpayer money. Actually, see, RD's also here. She's also in the in the committee there, no? Pero anyway, basically they parang to kind of ensure against like it's not a scam or corrupt or whatever. Like ideally, there's also a private sector co-investor, so it's not just the government investing in your round. So that's why it's kind of better if actually if you the ideal scenario I think for NDC and for you if I were you is to focus on getting someone else to say yes first, like another investor. Tapos,
actually, that's why I'm thinking.
If you're raising 200K, tapos you get 100K, kahit na 50K lang I think then NDC will match it and fill out your round and tapos ka na, right? I mean, relatively, it's a bit easier to convince NDC once you already have your kind of lead investor that's from the private sector. No? Kasi parang, it's not the NDC's job to do the due diligence and blah, blah, blah. So they rely on the accredited VCs to do that. So if I were you, I'd focus my effort on finding your lead investor that's not NDC. Again, it doesn't even have to be like the full amount. Like again, pero at least meron ding iba na actual investor in your business. And then
Pero
run
how
to
does it
NDC.
work? For example, like you mentioned pala yung mga check size, it's dollars rate ba yun or peso?
Dollars.
Okay, dollars. Then next question is, for example, you got some investors na both angel investors and VC investors. So there's a chunk of angel investors, they just want to tag along with the round. Then there's a lead investor who really wants to get in. But that lead investor is not part of NDC, but there's a message that they want to invest. Paano yun? Like, is it okay like just get na lang any private investor even though they're not accredited by
get a term sheet and then ask the investor to get accredited. It's really not hard to get accredited for the investors naman. Not easy, pero if you're a legit investor, there's a process naman to accredit you. And basically, we just check na, legit ba yung investor, they know what they're doing, stuff like that. No, like,
But if it's an angel investor, so it's a person, okay lang ba mo sumali siya sa round?
Of course, they can join the round, but they're not the one that needs to be accredited. I mean, unless the angel investor is your lead investor.
No, they're not. Parang ano lang. Parang may mga...
kasali lang sila, then it doesn't matter.
I see.
That should be fine.
Yeah, kasi kaya parang...
Not all of your investors need to be accredited. You just need to have an investor that's accredited. Does that make sense?
Got it. Sige.
Yeah.
Thank you, Kat.
Okay.
Sure.
My goodness. Personalized service. God.
May bayad na tayo, joke lang.
She will send you the check. No, Noel is a good startup. But anyway, we are at 30 minutes at the hour. So thank you, everyone. I will stay for a few minutes. I know some people would love to catch up with you, but thank you, everyone, for joining. We appreciate it. Kat, amazing event. An hour and a half is not enough. But welcome back to being active. We can't wait to see you at the beach. And for those of you who are online, there's other events in September. We have 2 events in September. The purpose is to get you all up to speed and educated so that when the GOAB event happens October 1 to 3 in Cebu, you'll all be ready. Hope you can join us. Anyone else? Kat, do you have any last minute comments for folks?
Thanks everyone for staying. Like, again, I hope it was helpful or informative for some of you. And yeah, I'm excited to be back. Thanks, Tina, for inviting me again. And I know it's kind of late, especially for people based in Manila. So I really appreciate that you decided to spend your evening here with me and, and GOAB, and that you're actively part of this community. So yeah, like I look forward to seeing you also in person on the beach very soon.
Okay. Sounds good. So I'm going to go ahead and stop recording.